Well, he sings for Goldfinger.
That is a fact about John Feldman. I mean, we thought that putting what he does and doing what we do and putting the two together would create a sort of different kind of thing that we haven't done and maybe he hasn't done, so it kind of maybe challenges both people, and I think that's exactly what it did. And that's the shortest version, because there's a version that can take a week long, but we're not going to go into that because we don't have time.
Yeah, and I would like to add, though, we did try to like talk to different producers, and he was the one that was like, I want to do your record. I really, really want to do that. And I think that a lot of times you want to work with people that are just as passionate as you are. And so I think that the fact that he was like so obsessed with doing the record made us be like, fuck yeah, this guy's going to like pay attention to us, pay attention to the record. And he seemed to actually like really care about like the songs, the lyrical content and shit like that. So it was really cool.
We thought it sounded cool. That's what it was. I think with a band like 60 Year Guns, everyone wants this crazy story, but there really is not one. Except for the fact with the things that are going on in the world right now, and I think the way that you can describe each five of us, if there's one word that we have to use to describe ourselves, it's pretty much just, oh, you want us to do this? Well, we're going to do the opposite because fuck you. And so I think that is a perfect word to encompass. Encompass or compass?
We can encompass it.
Encompass. It's probably not a word. I'm sorry. I'm not as smart as people think that I am, I guess.
You're a wordsmith. That's all right.
And so, I don't know. I think it's just, it makes the statement.
I think like everyone always looks at disobedience as a bad thing, and I look at it as a good thing. You know, like to the people that have like changed things in the world, it's mostly because they were disobedient. They are rebelling against something. And I think that's what a lot of the lyrics have to do with. And if you look at the cover art, it just kind of fits the whole theme of the music. And so it's just an easy word to describe what the music is.
This is the first, I can say musically, this is the first record that Josh has contributed to. And I think it's interesting to me because I was nervous. Like when Chris first joined the band, he was in Walls of Jericho, and my biggest thing was I love Walls of Jericho. I don't want to sound like Walls of Jericho. And I think Chris did a really good job of that. Really great job of being like, okay, cool. You know, he bringing his thing without bringing Walls of Jericho. Josh, same exact thing. He came in and he wrote songs for us that they don't sound like Casey Jones or Evergreen Terrace. It's like he took the Stick to Your Guns thing that we do, and then he added what he does to it, and once again it came out with something great. Lyrically, I mean, you know, a lot of the same kinds of social and political topics are touched, but I would say mostly the thing that maybe is different than any other record we've done, is I do touch on my family, which is I never really get too personal about my own life, so that's something that that's new, which was kind of a weird thing for me, and that's something that John, like John said, it's like because anytime he told me, anytime my family got brought up, I did my best to change the subject. So he thought it would be a good thing to sing about that and kind of take it face on. And
I think for me, like it was the most stressful record that I've ever written for, because when I joined Stick to Your Guns is when we were in the studio for Diamond, and so that record was pretty much already done. And so the entire time where I was at home like writing riffs, I was just like, I'm gonna fuck this band up. Like, oh my God, like if this record sucks, it's gonna be my fault. And so I was like freaking out in my head, and I felt like I put like a lot of pressure on myself. And then me, Chris, and Jesse got together and we started like showing each other all the songs that we had, and then I was like, okay, my ideas aren't being denied, this is like good. And then like he said, like I feel like it really worked, the three of us together, and then especially when George and Andrew came together, I feel like everything flowed really easily. For sure. And it ended up being like, I think my favorite, it went from my most hated and most stressful like writing process to end up being like my favorite record I've ever done. I think this is like my 15th release that I've done in my life. So this is like my favorite album, favorite lyrical content, favorite layout. So I'm pretty stoked.
Take two. There you go. Use that one.
It's all electronic.
We're an electronic band now.
Nobody's the only song that isn't.
Nobody. I feel like, I mean, it was nervous. It was made us nervous releasing that song first because we knew exactly what was going to happen. And people are like, "Oh, this is what the whole record sounds like," which is fine. I mean, people are gonna jump to conclusions about anything, but it's definitely not what the whole record sounds like. That's definitely something like, that's a perfect example of John helping, take okay, stick to your guns. This is what they normally do. What can we do that's something that pushes them a little bit further? And I think that it was awesome. It came out
that was
awesome.
one of the songs that we went into the studio with 17 songs of our own, and then we ended up writing a few songs in the studio, and Nobody's one of the ones that we wrote in the studio, and it was a product of John pushing us to write another song. And so that song would have never happened if we wouldn't have ever recorded with John. But as far as the style of the record, I think it's a continuation of Diamond, but it's a more mature sounding version of it. I mean, I know everyone says it's the heaviest, fastest, sickest, catchiest record we've ever done.
The best way we can put it is this is the best record we've ever done until the next one. Then that will be the best.
Yeah.
So this is the second best. I mean, this is the second best. The next one will be the best.
So get this
and
one
then after
out.
that, this will be the third best. Do you get it?
It's going to work like that.
That's how it all works. They all live down the street from where we were recording.
They're all our friends, and they all live down the street.
That's really what it was. They're our friends, and they came in to hang out, and they were like, "Hey, you happen to be in a band that we all love, Toby and Walter and Scott." And so they came, and they just did what they do, and it fucking came out sick.
The funniest part is definitely, hands down, was watching Toby track his vocals.
Oh, yeah. Watching all of them, really.
Yeah.
They all have weird little things they do.
Yeah, Scott walked in, hands in his pockets, just first take, and he's like, "Oh, that's it." And we're like, "Oh, all right, good." Toby came in. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He was screaming so hard. His arms were going like this, and his face was turning red. And he was like, "Ah!" And then
Walter was the weird, over his head
yeah, Walter
thing.
was grabbing his head and turning into, he's the size of a gorilla now.
Yeah.
And he was mutating. That's what he was doing.
He was hulking out. He was turning into the Hulk.
It was very strange.
But he already kind of is like the Hulk, so he was like a smaller Hulk turning into a bigger Hulk.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Here's the truth. Because the other songs that we had to do for bonus songs, we were just like, these aren't really that good. And then our manager goes, "You guys should do some acoustic songs because the We Still Believe acoustic was really good." And we went, "Yeah, Jesse, do these acoustic songs." And then we all left, and he was stuck with them.
Well, honestly, that's what happened. When we decided to do We Still Believe acoustic, it was one of those things where it's like, all right, I'll do it. I mean, I like that when Ignite does it or Rise Against does it. I think it's fucking awesome. So we did it, and I was just ready. I was throwing it out to the world, expecting everyone to just immediately tear it apart, and it got a really good response. So we said, "Hey, let's just do it again," and people seem to like it. So
Yeah, they turned out really cool.
yeah, thanks, bud.
Good job.